I love history. It's this wonderful collection of records that range from brilliant to downright stupid. But that's humanity for you. We have this uncanny talent of accomplishing amazing things, but dang, there are some really cringy moments in our past, and animation is no exception. For example, back in the early to mid 1900s, there were racist cartoons everywhere. Yeah, this is offensive, but that was society at the time. Despite how awful it was, we cannot deny that it happened. If we do that, there is no way we can learn from it. And that is why I want to showcase one of my favorite genres of animation, propaganda cartoons. Throughout history, humans have tried to sway the support of their countrymen by any means necessary. Posters and pamphlets, convincing a group that the gods were on their side, or having Bugs Bunny preach about the benefits of war bonds. If it's a form of communication, then I guarantee that it has been used for someone's political agenda. Now, whether or not these agendas are ultimately good or evil, well, only time will tell, but that isn't our goal here. I just want to show you all how crazy these cartoons are. Seriously, they are absolutely insane. This is my top 10 propaganda cartoons. Number 10, the Ducktators. When it comes to propaganda cartoons, World War II is the most popular subject. The United States government would contract studios to create dozens of animations. Disney, Warner Brothers, everyone was doing it. Now, whether it was educational or insulting, or both, the objective was clear: mock the Axis powers and make them look like utter trash. Hitler, for example, took many forms, and none of them were flattering. He was portrayed as weak, lanky, tired, demented, and even a duck. Yep, a duck. The Ducktators was made in 1942 by Warner Brothers Studio. It's about a family of ducks on a farm who give birth to Hitler. The young duckling grows up, makes some friends, and then takes over mainland Europe. I meant he takes over the farm. He takes over the farm. You can tell that Mel Blanc is the main voice behind this tune, as he voices practically everything. And that also includes the racist duck.
Sieg Heil, boy! I'm from South Germany.
Eventually, the Dove of Peace gets pissed off and decides to set things straight again. Duck Hitler is defeated and order is restored once more. Number 9, Bugs Bunny and Nips the Nips. During World War II, the United States did not just make fun of the Germans. We had plenty to say about the Japanese too. If anything, they were more of our enemy since they bombed Pearl Harbor. So what is the best way to get revenge? Easy. Send Bugs Bunny at 'em. Nips the Nips came out on April 22nd, 1944 by Warner Brothers Studio. In it, Bugs Bunny finds himself on an island with Japanese soldiers, and hijinks ensue. Also harassment, sumo wrestling, racism, and murder. I feel weird liking this animation. I mean, it's offensive and crass, but it also has Bugs Bunny in it. And what Bugs Bunny cartoon would be complete without some drag going on? After goofing around, Bugs decides to get serious and get rid of the Japanese soldiers. How? By giving them ice cream with grenades. Ice cream grenades. The best part about this scene, Bugs goes full racist.
Here's yours, bowlegs. Here, one for you, monkey face. Don't shove, there's plenty for all. Here you are, slant eyes. Everybody gets one. Ice cream.
You will never look at Space Jam the same way again. Number 8, Nimbus Libere. I think it's in German, I don't know how to say it. Okay, so this one is a bit of a mystery to me. I tried to dig up some information on it, and all I can gather is that it was a cartoon that the Germans made to convince the French that the Allied forces were going to bomb them. With Goofy, Felix the Cat, Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck, and Popeye. Oh my God. I can only imagine that the Nazis wanted to make the French believe that the British and Americans were their enemy, and that they would get caught in the bombing runs, that they were not liberators but bad guys. Propaganda in its purest form. Wait, so before we move on, I gotta look at sad B-17 bomber Goofy just one more time.
Wake me up! Wake me up inside! I can't wake up! Wake me up inside!
Number 7, the Millionaire. The Soviet Union. It's weird to think that they existed back when I was born, but it seems like a distant memory now. But Russia had its fair share of cartoons to promote its beliefs and to discredit the American pig dogs. Speaking of dogs, what happens when an old lady dies and leaves her fortune to her pet? Why, the answer is obvious. He becomes a greedy, capitalistic, pompous, selfish, corrupt, decadent, cruel, power-hungry, lustful aristocrat who only cares about his wealth and status. You know, the usual. Created in 1963, The Millionaire shows how money can corrupt a person, or a dog. Our main character goes from a partier to a banker to a senator and leaves a trail of dust along the way. The Soviet Union did not care for American capitalism and wanted to show how it can twist an individual. Politics aside, I really enjoyed the style of this animation. The characters are borderline minimalistic, and there is this Art Deco vibe to it. Also, the music is fantastic and really fits the visuals and style. Too bad the narrator's audio quality sucks.
Шеф-повар составляет на каждый день меню.
It's like he recorded on a potato. Oh wait, we need that for vodka. There is also a decent amount of symbolism in this animation. I found the conclusion to be interesting. The dog was elected as a senator, and that was it. He got what he wanted. Moral of the story? That's what crooked money does, if only you can get it. Number 6, the Fuehrer's face. Oh boy, alright. This one is a personal favorite, and not because I'm a Nazi, but because Donald Duck is a Nazi. Der Fuhrer's face, created by Disney in 1943, is probably one of the most popular and well-known propaganda cartoons out there. In it, we see a miserable Donald Duck go about his daily life as a Nazi soldier. He is bossed around, has little food, and has absolutely no freedom. He must do what the state commands, and that is being an assembly line worker for a weapons factory. Disney did a great job trash-talking Germany and how awful it was over there, which, objectively, wasn't too far away from the truth. At the end, Donald wakes up from his nightmare and finds himself in Captain America's bedroom. Oh, I wish. He then kisses Lady Liberty and shines with patriotism.
Am I glad to be a citizen of the United States of America?
Number 5, Make Mine Freedom. Now this one is unique. Remember that Soviet Union cartoon on our list? Well, this is basically the American equivalent. Make Mine Freedom, created in 1948 by Sutherland Productions, was a response to Russia and the Cold War. The United States was wary of communism and wanted to promote capitalism to its people. That was the objective of this animation. The beginning features a narrator talking about the positives of the United States and its people, how we all have the freedom to do what we want. Some terms and conditions may apply. We then meet 4 characters who represent different aspects of the United States: the average Joe, the businessman, the politician, and the farmer. And they aren't too happy. We then meet the sleazy salesman who is trying to promote his product, ISM. What is ISM, you ask?
This bottle, you'll have the bountiful benefit of higher wages, shorter hours, and security. Enormous profits, no strikes. Remember, you're the big boss. Government control, no worry about votes. Name your own salary. Bigger crops, lower costs. Why, ISM even makes the weather perfect every day.
Sounds pretty good, right? Not to this guy.
Sign away my freedom. Why, this is ridiculous.
My freedom? Huh, no way. This guy then tells the tale about how American freedom allowed us the chance to become great. We also see the horrors of isms and how it can cripple the people. So screw your isms. We Americans don't need it. Our land is one of freedom and capitalism. Wait, hold the phone. Number 4. Private Snafu. Out of all of the choices for this list, I would have to say that this one has the most interesting backstory. So during World War II, a lot of American men were drafted into battle. Some of these men did not know how to read, and it was a challenge to educate them on proper military protocol. So how can we fix this? Oh, I have an idea. Let's have Warner Brothers create an educational series of cartoons for the soldiers. And in 1943, Private Snafu was born. After Warner Brothers underbid Disney for the contract, they got to work and produced 27 episodes for the American military and the American military only. This was not for public eyes, and the government took extreme measures to ensure that no one leaked the storyboards or the animation frames. There were quite a few legends who worked on this project. Chuck Jones, Mel Blanc, and Dr. Seuss. Yeah, apparently Dr. Seuss was a writer for the series. From censorship to weapon care to booby traps, Private Snafu served as an example of what would happen if a soldier did not do his part. Oh, and since this was just for the military, Warner Brothers did not have to answer to the motion picture production code. This is why we see a lot of sexy ladies and bad language in these cartoons. It was for soldiers. They already have dirty minds, so you might as well make a dirty cartoon too. Oh, and by the way, Snafu is a military acronym for Situation Normal, all f***ed up, though they take the high road in the animation and say all fouled up instead. I suppose you have to have some standards, right, Warner Brothers? Number 3, Education for Death. This was the first World War II propaganda cartoon that I have ever seen, and it still haunts me to this day. Let me tell you a little backstory before I explain the plot. While researching the choices from my list, I discovered that both Warner Brothers and Disney were desperate for work during World War II. Both companies signed contracts with the government and promised to produce animated shorts. For Disney, this was a godsend. In 1940, Fantasia was released, and it didn't do well in the box office. Due to its reception, Disney Studio was on the verge of bankruptcy, and they had to get creative and find a solution. It just so happened that the military manufacturer, Lockheed, was in the Burbank area, and the two companies shared a relationship. A contract with the American government was struck, and Disney was charged with the task of creating 32 propaganda cartoons. So, in a way, the US military saved Disney from going out of business. Who would have guessed? Okay, so back to the plot. Education for Death was about a little boy named Hans and his upbringing in Nazi Germany. Unlike Der Fuhrer's Face, this cartoon was more serious. Now, that doesn't mean it was completely void of humor. Yet it does take a serious tone. His mother is afraid for his life and fears that the state will take him away. This wasn't uncommon for the Nazi regime. We then see Hans in school and how they educate him and his classmates. At a certain point, the animation goes into hardcore mode and just lets the audience have it. At the end, Hans becomes a Nazi soldier. No goofy conclusion, no silly jokes, no waking up from a dream, just a grim march to an early grave. And that is why this particular choice still sticks with me to this day. Number 2, Squirrel and Hedgehog. So this list of mine has had some interesting picks so far, but it lacks a very important genre of animation. North Korean anime. I already know some of you nerds are saying, oh, that isn't anime. Pfft, yes, it is. Next, you're gonna tell me that Avatar: The Last Airbender isn't an anime. This particular show has a confusing origin and required a lot of homework, so try to bear with me here. From what I have gathered, Squirrel and Hedgehog was originally released in 1977, but has changed over the years. Different animation studios have worked on the show, so the style isn't consistent. That is why we see different versions of it up on YouTube. Grainy traditional 2D, and Beast Wars. Behold the glorious lands of North Flower Hill. In this show, we follow the soldiers of the Democratic People's Republic of Squirrels and Hedgehog as they battle against the evil forces of America, wolves and weasels. This entire show is a metaphor for North Korea and the rest of the world. They are good, America is evil. End of story. Now, there is a lot of symbolism at play here. The bear represents Russia. The mice represent South Korea. The fox? Sex! Seriously, do not Google Squirrel and Hedgehog with the safe search off. I told you not to! This show is outrageous with its fight scenes, exchanges, and blatant propaganda. North Korea is no stranger to these types of cartoons, but this one was just so different. A spot in the top 10 list cannot give it justice, and I want to make a separate, thorough video about this series in the future. Cause baby, it deserves it. So before I get to the number 1 spot on our list, I wanted to give a quick shout out to some honorable mentions. Peace on Earth, the only World War I related cartoon that I could find. You're a sap, Mr. Jap. Popeye beats the crap out of the Imperial fleet. And my number 1 choice for the top 10 propaganda cartoons is...
Michael needs our help. Then let's Good luck.
Cartoon All-Stars to the rescue. Remember the war on drugs? It was this massive and expensive attempt by the United States government to halt the growth of drug use amongst its population. It started in the 1970s and still goes on to this very day. President Nixon coined the term, and other politicians have ran with it ever since. Since its birth, we have seen a wide range of PSAs, after-school specials, and cartoon characters who advocate against the use of drugs. When I was in school, I remember seeing DARE posters and programs everywhere, and Scruff McGruff the crime dog would lecture us weekly about the dangers of criminals and marijuana. Now, don't get me wrong, it is very important to educate people about alcohol, pot, and other drugs, and that especially goes for children. But good lord, the government and other associations decided to promote their cause in the corniest of ways possible.
Learning when to say no. Hey, no. That's what you need to do. Learning how to say no. Hey, no.
What the actual hell? Cartoons were no strangers to addressing these topics on their shows. G.I. Joe, Captain Planet, and many others. So it was only natural to assemble all of these pop culture icons into a single event and have them drop a knowledge bomb of the highest caliber. How could the kids not understand our cause after showing them this?
It's me. This is my future?
It is if you don't get off those drugs.
Oh.
You use, you lose.
Oh.
Listen to us. We care about you, Mikey.
What's up, Doc, is your life if you don't cut it out.
Cartoon All-Stars to the Rescue was a collaborative drug PSA that featured popular cartoon characters of the time. Garfield, Michelangelo, the Muppet Babies, the Smurfs, Alf. Okay. It was like assembling the Avengers, but lame. As far as property rights go, all of the characters were donated to the episode free of charge due to the nature of the cause. Also, it was McDonald's that sponsored the event and the distribution of the VHS tapes. Speaking of Ronald, President Reagan makes an appearance. He talks about drugs being bad and stuff. Okay, so the actual cartoon. Holy cow. What the hell? Like, I know that they are saying, don't do drugs, but I feel that this entire episode is a bad acid trip. We have this boy who is hooked on drugs and steals his sister's piggy bank. A bunch of cartoon characters are like, "Oh, hell nah, we aren't gonna let this happen. If someone's gonna take your money, it's gonna be us." So this smoke cloud appears and starts to persuade our hero to do drugs. Then the other good cartoon characters show up and try to tell him that he should stop. 30 minutes later, and all is right in the world again. Everybody wins and the war on drugs is over. I consider this propaganda. Why? Because it fits the definition. And I quote, "Information, ideas, or rumors deliberately spread widely to help or harm a person, group, movement, institution, or nation." So what is their objective? To stop the use of drugs. How are we going to do it? PSA after PSA after PSA after PSA. Just because it is propaganda does not mean it's bad. And I do think that this is a cause that's worth addressing. Educating the public about drugs is important, but God, are they heavy-handed about it. And there are times where I think that the PSAs are worse than the drugs themselves. I wish I could go into more detail about this cartoon, but I will have to save that for another time. Let it be known though, when it comes to being unsubtle, corny, forced, and corporate, nothing quite compares to the glory of Cartoon All-Stars to the rescue. And that is why it is my #1 choice for this list. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you guys next time.